Hi friends, today we are going to start a series on WordPress and I'm going to name it as Learning WordPress in Depth. So what does it mean? Uh, I'm trying here to do that my viewers can understand how WordPress is developed. You can search on YouTube. There are many videos on how to make a WordPress theme and plugin. But here we are going to understand the WordPress in depth, like how the database structure and how it is utilized by the WordPress file structure. I'm not talking about WP content. I'm talking about generally the whole file structure of the WordPress. So and so it is going to be a multi-part series, and I'm expecting 40 or 30. I don't know. We can see that later. Uh, so let's begin. So first you have to go to wordpress.org to download the WordPress zip file. From here you can download the WordPress. I think I've already downloaded it. So you can download it. So I'm going to take it from here. I'm using a MAMP. You can use any other uh, s- any other servers, like server tools like XAMPP, WAMP. If you're using a Windows, I'm using a Mac. So it's a very easy process. You can install. There are so many instructions written on their website how to install. So we are going to name it Learn WP. So now let's install that one. Let's make a new host. So we're going to save it and start it again. Now it will ask for our configuration, like our language, our database. So what we are going to do now, create a database. So I'm going to name it WP. WP. So database has been created. So my PHP admin configuration is username, password, root. Password is also root. Sorry. So it may be different for you, so you have to check. So cannot select the database. So let's try again. Mm, let's check our database. Is the okay? So I name it wrong. Operations. Rename. Okay. Password. Root. Okay. Now it's done. So we're going to install the WordPress. Now it will ask for our site title. I am going to name it Learn WP. Username admin right now. Admin password, or my mail ID. As you can see, it is installed. So we are able to log in the WordPress database dashboard. Sorry. So now see our database. So by default, WordPress gives us this tables. So the most important, the core table I mean to say, this is WordPress posts. So before that, I want to explain one concept, not a concept but thing. So you can search what is PHP serialize. Not only PHP but serialize objects. So what it does do and why we need it. So first of all, we'll explain what it is. So I'm creating an array like simply a numerical array 1, 10, 11, 12 and assigned to a variable. We are going to do. As you can see, it is an array. So in database, when if we go to the database and see the structure, and we can, if we suppose I want to go, I'm editing this one. There is no array type, so we cannot define that field as an array type. So what we are going to do, what the WordPress do, is serialize this array. So what I mean by serialize? So this is a way. If I'm going to show this, so serialize. Now you can see it is converted into an object. So what does it mean? I'm going to explain it. So here A. Here A means array. A array of 3. So if you could see here, we have a 3 values 10, 11, 12. So it's an array of 3 values. So it is same here. Now you can see it's I0 means index 0. So and the value is integer. Don't get confused between this I and this I. This I means index and this I means integer. So this is our second index, it is our 10 in second value and third value. Similarly, if I'm going to add a string, suppose anything, and I run it. So you can see that the index is now I3 and our string, it's a type of string, and how many characters it has? 8. So we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It starts from 1. So this value, this serialize is stored in WordPress tables. So now, so we're going to understand the basic, the core, the main table of the WordPress is WP underscore posts. So here I'm going to make you understand the concept of that ping and trackback. Here you can see the ping status and pinged. So here we are going to uh, check all this, how what means. So okay, now the next concept I'm going to make you understand that what here we can see post type, post underscore type. So post underscore type, what does it means? So so I'm going to explain, and I'm try to explain by one object, one pictorial representation, so that you can understand. Let suppose let it compare with Java, because most of the developers are not in Java. So here it is an object. Where in Java we called it as a objects. In WordPress we called it as a post. So everything in a WordPress is a post. Even if you go to the WordPress, the by default WordPress gave us two post types. So here if I go to that hello world, here you can see this is post type. If I go to the pages, the post type will be equals to page. So you can see in this menu the post type equals to page. So in WordPress database we are also going to see two tables will be there. So you can see there we have by default two types of post. One is obviously post and other is page. So don't get confused that in WordPress most of the newcomers always thought that the post is different and page is different. In WordPress you have to understand that everything is a post. I mean to say not everything we can create other than the types of post, but generally it's everything is a post. So now here we can have in what Java we can have member functions and variables, all these things. Member functions and variables. Same thing in WordPress we have. Guys, I'm just explaining the concept. It doesn't mean it is an object-oriented approach. I'm just making it simple to understand you. Same thing we have in WordPress, a custom fields. Okay, later we are going to understand what is custom fields, but right now we have to understand WordPress uses posts. So whatever we create, we will create some custom post types, and we will give them the post type also. So now see, if I create a new post, suppose I create a new post like a sample and sample description, and I publish it. Now if I go to the database and see, we can see that it is have created a one post which ID is automatically generated. It is an auto increment ID. So the post author is means we will see what does it once means here, and post date. So post date is current date, current timestamp, and this is GMT means a Greenwich timestamp. And what does it do? Why we use GMT? So like when we create a GMT, there will be no dependency in the future for time conversions. Like if if in some other countries they might be following a different time format, so that will be. So it is benefit. That's why the WordPress use the GMT format. That means Greenwich. I don't know the full name. It's a Greenwich, I think so. Mm, Greenwich time something. So now let's go to the post content. So Post content, whatever we put this in inside this content, it goes into the post content. Whether it's your short codes, we will explain it later, or anything like if even HTML and update it. So now if we check, so it has taken a H1. So now see, so now what this means, it's a title of this post. This one goes into this post, this field. So now, and what is post excerpt? Excerpt means like if we go to the options and activate this excerpt option, we can go to this here, this excerpt meta box. This whole thing calls a meta box. I'm going to explain it later. So if I suppose I put a sample excerpt, it's a small description about your posts if you want to show on the front end. So excerpt. So and refresh this one. So you can see that it has been showing this excerpt. Now what is this post status? By default WordPress gives us status like publish, pending and draft. So if I change this to draft and update, so post status will be draft here. So post password. So what does it means post password? Now you can see the visibility is public, but when I make it as a password protected, so if I put a password 1234 and make it as a okay now and update, so now you can see the password is protected. So the 1234, because this one the visibility is different than the post status. So now let's see the post modification when it is modified and Greenwich mean time. So this is used for the future time conversions. Now if I go to their GUID, so what does GUID mean? It's a unique ID. So what GUID means, so when you like RSS, so yeah, mainly it was using RSS. Um, it's a unique identifier, global unique identifier. So it is used to identify which post is there. So the WordPress thing was the URL was a unique identifier. I don't know. So as you can see, there is a one more type, post type revisions. It is automatically generated by the WordPress. So you can see my post which I created here. It is also created its one revision, and its status is inherit. It is inherit from this one. See, there is a comment count means whenever a user make a the user makes a comment, it increases how many comments are there. So now let's make a revision. What we understand what this means. ID, it is a auto increment. So auto increment means if when you create a table, like suppose if I create a new table, I make an ID, table name, sample, some anything. So add in a column and I make it an auto increment. So auto increment means a private, sorry, primary. So primary mean, so it should be primary. Okay, go. Now so primary means it can take it. It is unique, and the table it is identified by this prime. Its ID is a, it's a primary key of this sample anything. So now let's create it. So more column after id, name it name, and we are going to name it as where 255. We can do now insert. Sorry for that. Suppose John Cena. So if we insert this one, you can see the ID will be automatically generated one. Now same thing. If I insert an example here, like Batista, so and I might spell it wrong, so it doesn't matter. It's not relevant to this course. So ID is automatically generated to 2. So similarly, whenever a post is created, this ID automatically this ID will automatically be generated, and it will be unique, and from this ID the raw will be fetched. So now we go to the post author. What does it means, the post author? And that is going to be in our next video. For this from now it is, so guys, so please support the channel, subscribe and share it. It's so that I can make more quality video and provide more efforts in the production. So thank you guys, and next series we are going to learn WP users, which will make understand this post author. And some things are remaining, like what is ping status, and to pinged and pinged. Some this is going to be in the next video before we'll start to explain WP users. So okay guys, thank you, bye.